Next Saturday night, we're sending you back to the future.
You're listening to 91 Reasons, a journey into the twisted landscape of pop culture. Keep your hands and arms inside the podcast at all times. And now, the voice, Jeff Tucker.
I learned to read at a very early age. I'm not sure what it was in my brain, but something said, you better learn to read because the world around you is amazing, and you're only going to discover that if you learn what these hieroglyphics mean. I can remember kindergarten and learning Dick and Jane. I'm so old, we actually learned how to read through the Dick and Jane books. You know, Fun with Dick and Jane. It's not just a crappy movie with Jim Carrey. It's actually how to read. And growing up before the internet, before cell phones, before computers, my goodness, computers were not a thing. The first computer I saw they brought to our classroom, it was around 1981 or 82. It was an Apple computer. And I remember sitting there like, we're in the space age. Oh my God. Bones, it's an actual Apple computer. So we didn't have any of that. Nothing. And what we had were books. And I was a voracious reader. Sometimes 3 or 4 books at a time. I'd check them out from the library and I would devour them. The Phantom Toll Booth, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, all the Narnia books. I must have read 100 Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew Mysteries. There was another series called Alfred Hitchcock and the Three Investigators. I read everything. But if I had to go back and find the first book I ever really studied as a child, it's so weird. Like, I remember it being a Dr. Seuss book, but not one of the rhyming, quote-unquote, silly Dr. Seuss books. No, I had this book when I was a kid, and it was about some kid telling you what he was going to do. And I read it again and again and again. And part of me, while reading it, felt a little inadequate because my days were never filled with as much as this kid's days were. Like this guy had it. This guy was the Ferris Bueller of his day. He had a lot going on. And you know what happens as you get older? Things get dispersed through the galaxy. Yard sales, donations, books fall apart. You ever read a book till it fell apart? I have. You ever had to replace a book? That's a good feeling. Like, I've read this so many times, I killed it. And now I have to get a fresh one. You know? My friend Renee did that with my book, and that felt really good. So I was at the thrift store and looking for books with Josie, and I actually found that book I was talking about. I almost, like, it was a reverse pullback. Is that what it's called? Reverse zoom. The zoom pullback. You know, when Roy Scheider is sitting on the beach and the camera does that vertigo-inducing pull where it rears back and zooms in at the same time. I had that moment with this book, and I was like, oh my God, I found it. The book is called Do You Know What I'm Going to Do Next Saturday? And it's by Helen Palmer with photographs by Lynn Feynman. So I bought it. I mean, the books at the thrift store, children's books, 99 cents. Best 99 cents I ever spent at the thrift store. So I have the book right here. It stars a kid named Raleigh Davis who appears in all of the pictures. Now, I was born in 71, and by that time, this book was already old and out of print. This book is from 1963. I can't, for the life of me, figure out, this must have been something my brother had, and then I just sort of glommed on. Because I had this book starting at about age 4. So that would have been 1975. And like I said, I read it so many times. Now, I didn't know until this evening when I finally sat down to do some research about this book. But Helen Palmer was Dr. Seuss's wife. And she must have had this idea, we're going to do a series of books that are not the typical Dr. Seuss books, but feature children doing activities. Now, seems so easy now, but I'm sure in 63 this was a hard sell. And they didn't do well, and subsequently this book is long out of print. But those of us kids who had it, it meant the world to us. And Helen Palmer, Dr. Seuss's wife, not long after this book was published, committed suicide. She killed herself. And some people say that she left clues in this book about her suicide. I mean, that's chilling, right? Now, as a kid, never even entered into my mind. There was nothing offensive in this or mysterious in this book at all. It was simply what the kid says. Do you know what I'm going to do next Saturday? Well, you know what? Let's find out, shall we? First page is he's leaning against a wall talking to some other kid. Do you know what I'm going to do next Saturday? Well, sir, let me tell you. I'm going to do some things no one ever did before. Next page, he is surrounded by the biggest breakfast you've ever seen. 100 pancakes, a dozen oranges, toast, sausage, bagels, juice, jelly, you name it. First of all, I'm going to eat a big breakfast. Next Saturday is going to be a big day. Next Saturday, wow. I'm going to do some tricks no one ever saw before. They show him jumping off of a jungle gym. I'm going to dive some dives no one ever dived before. Yes, sir. That is the kind of thing I'm going to do next Saturday. They show him flipping through the air. So, he's playing tennis now, except he's playing by himself against 5 children. Did you ever beat more than one kid at a time? Well, I'm going to beat 5 kids at a time. And this is the first mysterious passage because without the picture, the text simply is, did you ever beat more than one kid at a time? Well, I'm going to beat 5 kids at a time. Next page. And then I'm going to beat their fathers too. Saturday is going to be my big day. Now he's playing volleyball against the fathers, but the text simply reads, I'm going to beat their fathers too. Saturday is going to be my big day. The next page shows him behind the counter of an ice cream parlor making his own ice cream. I mean, as a kid, I would have only dreamed of this. Now, when I was younger, we didn't have hometown buffet or anything that allowed you to make your own desserts. That was a late 80s, early 90s invention. Up until that point, customer service was king, and that was done for you. And some of the big Las Vegas buffets, they still do it for you, and it's very nice. So after he's done beating all of the fathers, after that, I'll eat a little something. You have to keep eating if you want to keep going. And next Saturday, I'm going to go a long way. On Saturday, I'm going to do everything I want to do. I'm going to go bowling if I want to. They show him bowling. Then I'm going to ski on water if I want to. And I want to. He's water skiing. Then I'm going to dive down to the bottom of the sea. I'm going to do everything. No one can stop me. They show him diving. I'm going to go up high if I want to. And I want to. And they show him traversing this cable high in the sky. And the next page Suddenly he's talking to a jet fighter pilot. I'm going to find someone to take me up in a jet. Did you ever go up in a jet? Well, I'm going to next Saturday. No kid in town ever did a thing like that before. And they show him flying in the jet. Now he's being helped into a Navy helicopter. But I'll do more than that. Did you ever go up in a how do you say it? Helicopter is how you say it. Well, sir, I'm going to go up in a helicopter too. They show him flying away. Then I'll come down. I'll dump water on Sam. I'll make him take a walk. I'll make Sam walk about 100 miles. So they show him dumping water, and then him and his friend are in the middle of freaking nowhere with sack lunches. Then they stop to eat. And this is one of the pictures that really, as a kid, got to me. Because they've packed all of the things to make sandwiches. They didn't pack sandwiches. They packed bread and meat and mayonnaise. And they have real glass bottles of milk. And he says, after a walk like that, I'll have to eat a little something. Sam won't keep going, but I want to keep going, so I'll have to eat and eat. And he's eating a big piece of watermelon. Next Saturday, I'm going to eat like a horse. And they show him eating a carrot next to a horse who's eating a carrot. I'm going to jump more stumps than anyone ever jumped before. Everything I do will be fun. Yes, everything. Everything? Well, maybe not everything. There is one thing I don't want to do next Saturday. And they show him jumping on all of these stumps, like down at the beach. Mother told me I'll have to get my hair cut. All right, I'll go. I'll go and look things over. They show him, obviously at an Air Force base or a naval base, watching somebody get their head shaved. Oh, do I want to look like that next Saturday? No, sir, not next Saturday. So he's watching the guy get all of his hair chopped off. I'll get out of there fast, and I'll take my hair with me. No one is going to stop me next Saturday. And he's running down the train tracks away from home. There are things I want to do. Did you ever play with United States Marines? And in this shot, they show him lined up with the Marines carrying a rifle. Shooting. I'll go shooting with the United States Marines. And now they show him firing a pistol with 3 other soldiers. Little guns, big guns. I'll shoot every gun that they shoot. Now he's shooting what looks like a machine gun with other soldiers. And now they've hoisted him up, and he's got his rifle over his head. The Marines will like my shooting, and they are going to like me. They will ask me to stay and eat a little something. You have to keep eating if you want to keep going. They show him getting a big tray of army food on a metal tray. I'll stay with them. I'll play with them. I'll run with them. I'll race with them. They show him doing the obstacle course from the Full Metal Jacket. Did you ever box a United States Marine? Well, sir, I'm going to box a Marine next Saturday. Then I'll box another way. I'll box with sticks. 2 Marines at a time. No kid ever did that. Never did a thing like that before. They show him boxing and doing the jousting like American Gladiators. Now he's climbing a rope net. I'll do everything. Everything they do. I'll be fast next Saturday. I'm going to beat them all. I'll beat them, then I'll leave them. I have other things to do. I'll run around and yell next Saturday. I'll yell my head off. I'll blow horns. I'll blow and blow. Next Saturday, I'll blow my head off. Now in the picture, he's playing a tuba. But without the picture, the caption is simply, next Saturday, he's going to blow his head off. And he follows that up with, no one is going to stop me next Saturday. Now we see him in a trash can with two men hoisting him up. Oh, they will try to stop me. They may catch me. They may take me away in a big tin can, and they may dump me over a wall. But I'll pop up again. He's popping up on the rocks. And then, do you know what I'm going to do? Well, sir, let me tell you. I'm going to eat more spaghetti than anyone ever ate before. And he's being served spaghetti by a very Italian-looking chef. Did you ever eat a mile of spaghetti? Did you ever eat 2 miles of spaghetti? Well, sir, I'm going to eat 10 miles of spaghetti. No one ever did that before, not even a United States Marine. So, when the Marines hear about me and all that spaghetti, do you know what they will do? They will put on a parade just for me. It will be 10 miles long, just like the spaghetti. And then after the parade, I'll take them all home for supper. I hope Mother has a little something in the house for us to eat. Yes, sir. That is what I'm going to do next Saturday. Saturday is going to be my big day. What the heck does this book mean? I was fixated on this book as a child. Are we to ascertain that next Saturday his mother has told him he's going to get a haircut, and so this book is simply the imagination of a child trying to get out of that? I guess. Is the writer telling us deep secrets about themselves hidden in the text of a children's book? I don't know. I do know that I read this book a lot, and finding it at the thrift store was a big deal. And it's not your average kid's book, you know? I have copies of all the books I treasured as a kid. This one is so bizarre and so different. You know, everybody had The Cat in the Hat. And the Cat in the Hat comes back. And one fish, two fish, red fish, blue fish, right? I had all of those, and Do You Know What I'm Going to Do Next Saturday? And what a bizarre title. I never would have found that if I hadn't found the actual book. Would never have found it on eBay because I didn't know the title. Didn't know who wrote it. And yet here it is. So every once in a while at the thrift store, instead of finding something that has monetary value, I find something that has amazing sentimental value that just, you know, does that woo time warp. And this book did it. And I thank you for indulging me in allowing to read it to you via the podcast. Totally bizarre to have it in my hands. So find us on Facebook and tell us what book did you read as a kid? Was it the same books everybody else did? Because there's nothing wrong with that. Or did you have that one book that was like, this was my weirdo book? You know? Was it The Indian in the Cupboard? Was it from the mixed up files of Mrs. Basil E. Frankweiler? Because I loved that book. You know, we didn't have Harry Potter. We didn't have Lemony Snicket. We didn't have any of those. We had all these other different books from a different time, a different genre, long ago. So, find your old books. Let's talk about them. I'm Jeff Tucker, and do you know what I'm going to do next Saturday? Because I don't know, except I will remain the host of 91 Reasons.
Thanks for listening to 91 Reasons. Please subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. Find us on Facebook. Is anyone even still listening?